Greetings, my friends. Welcome to the Home Slice and welcome to the Great Chop Tournament. So far, we have seen the Falkneven A1 go against the TOPS Silent Hero in a head-to-head battle for which knife can keep an edge longer. If you want to see that, I'll put a link up here. Our last episode, we took a Kmart cleaver and had it face off against the K-Bar-Becker BK7 for an incredibly, wildly mind-blowing and surprising result. So lots of twists and turns in this journey so far. I'm almost afraid to predict what's going to happen in this one. But looking back, this is the tournament bracket. The final cell in each line indicates the final best score. Now, best measurement is a way of measuring sharpness. It uses a line that is held at tension. As the knife cuts through the line, the best tester measures exactly how many grams it takes for the edge of the knife to sever that line. We have a very exciting episode for you lined up today. Today we have the Cold Steel Recon Scout. The Cold Steel Recon Scout is Chinese made. It's in 01 steel. It's oiled. I oiled it to preserve the best measurement. It's sharpened on a denim strop at 17 degrees per side, a finely polished edge, down to a score of 155 on the best machine. That's pretty good. That's so far in the tests, that's the poorest result I've been able to squeeze out of a steel, but I really had to reprofile this. This was at a hugely obtuse edge from the factory. This thing was probably somewhere in the realm of 20 to 22 degrees, so I really had to grind away a lot of metal and bring it back to a new apex. And this 01 steel didn't polish quite as finely as the others. 01 is carbon steel with a few additional alloys that are intended to boost its properties, its toughness, its wear resistance just slightly over conventional 1095. And that will be very, very interesting because this is sort of a somewhat budget cold steel. They're getting a bit more expensive these days. I anticipate this handle might be problematic, but it will be interesting because it is facing off today against a, drum roll please, TOPS Tahoma Field Knife. I'm so stoked. The TOPS Tahoma Field Knife is a very famous sort of outdoorsman's knife. It's got a true double-edged tip, and it's made of differentially heat-treated 1095. So the TOPS Tahoma Field Knife measured on the best 109 grams, which is really, really awesome and very fine edge for a knife of this size. Let's measure the thickness behind the edge and do a little paper slice to demonstrate. And my prediction at the gate is that the TOPS Tahoma Field Knife is going to outperform the Cold Steel, but it's got quite an abrupt grind. So I'm wondering if actually the penetration might be better on the Cold Steel Recon Scout. Edge to edge, they've got about the same amount and shape of edge, so it'll be really interesting that way. Cold Steel's a lot thicker. I don't know if you can see that on camera, but it's a lot thicker. And overall, if you line them up butt to butt, then the Tahoma Field Knife is much longer, so I think it'll have more heft. I think it's probably overall a better chopper because of handle design. This is a wire gauge. It measures distances down to a 10,000th of an inch in set increments used for measuring wire. If you want to know more about how you can use that to determine knife performance, check out this video after you watch this one. Let's check out the Cold Steel. Okay, I have never run into this before. The Cold Steel is just on the verge of 50 thou behind the edge. 50 thousandths of an inch. That's like thicker at the edge than the spine of one of my Victorinox paring knives. That's like more than a millimeter thick at the edge. We're approaching machete thickness behind the edge there. That's wild. We'll see if that ruins it or if that's okay. This is going to be really interesting. It should have really high edge durability and stability, I would think, with that much metal behind the edge. I'm assuming the TOPS is less. Let's check it out. Okay, so the TOPS is measuring, well, it's under at 31 and it's over at 34. So somewhere in the 32 to 33, we'll call it 32 and a half or so thousandths behind the edge. That's about the same thickness that my K-Bar Becker BK7 was, and we've got a much more abrupt grind here. I think we've got a little bit more weight than the K-Bar Becker BK7. I don't know, let's actually take a look. Yeah, it definitely feels like it's got more forward weight. Oh yeah, look at that. It's got a lot more steel up in front of the handle. So very, very smooth, smooth. 155 best edge on that bad boy. Cold Steel Recon Scout. Whew. It's so quiet. Wow. TOPS Tahoma. Very, very sharp. Wow. That's wild. The way the test works is we do 90 minutes chopping with each, and we'll take a best measurement afterward. So you're taking out chunks like that big. Alternate directions. And you're through something that thick. So, once upon a time, I filled an entire wrap-up for this video on my DJI Osmo Action in 8 times slow motion. And I couldn't really recover the audio very well, so I'm gonna just have to reshoot this. I think I can keep the footage of the best testing. I hope that it's clear and the numbers come through. But surprising things that I thought from use before I knew the best numbers, okay? I was surprised by how good the retention in your hand was on this Cold Steel Recon Scout. This thing wanted to stay in my hand. There was one time where I was swinging and it slipped out just a little bit, and that was scary, but my hands were a little wet and dirty, and the whole rest of the time it would work its way out a little bit, but if you just reset every now and again, this thing actually worked fine for chopping. It seemed sharp, but as soon as that initial sharp edge started going away, the 50,000ths of an inch thickness behind the edge really started to take a toll on the penetration. That said, it performed admirably, and actually it appears to have less damage overall than the TOPS Tahoma Field Knife. The TOPS Tahoma Field Knife actually surprised me with how poor the retention was in your hand. Now these are micarta scales. They're nice micarta scales, but I think they're used and maybe they got some hand oil in there, and they've been taken to quite a smooth finish. And the diamond shaped injection molded rubber on this Cold Steel Recon Scout was surprisingly grippy, very, very effective. This micarta was okay, but with leather gloves on, and having done this as the second knife and my hands being a bit dusty and dirty, I would swing it and it would want to slip out to this position, and it was a little bit scary. So I think I'll need to just scrub down this micarta with some detergent and expose like dry fibers sticking out again of the fabric, and that ought to give me a better grip experience. I will indeed be using this again. The best scores on these two came back. There was one really high number on the TOPS Tahoma, as you saw, a 482 at the tip, because the two tips of these went into the dirt a bit because I had a lot of big roots to deal with today. But very, very close best results. TOPS Tahoma Field Knife averaged out at 347 grams, which is quite a good result, and it's pretty understandable considering that the TOPS Silent Hero averaged at 339, a little bit better, but it doesn't quite have the weight and heft of this, and it didn't quite face the amount of dirt and hardwood that this did. The Cold Steel Recon Scout somewhat blew my mind by coming back with a best score of 351.3 average. So that's within 4 grams of the tops. Now, what should we take away from that? I don't know, man. I think the big thick edge helps this to not chip easily. There's a lot of metal behind this edge. The O1 steel has enough alloys that it's helping the toughness naturally just a little bit. The better edge retention on the tops, despite it having a thinner edge, I think goes to show that they've really done their homework on their heat treatments. TOPS Knives does really good heat treatments, and this is a budget knife done really well and strategized really well by Cold Steel, and I'm like pleased with this. It's also a combat knife, so it's not made for this sort of use. It's made for more toughness-oriented things, not more edge retention-oriented sort of things. So overall, I'm amazed by how well the Cold Steel Recon Scout did. I really enjoyed it. This long, flat grind really made it so that it could still bite in a little bit, even with that thick edge, and it was nice to use. TOPS Tahoma Field Knife, I would have liked to see these handles grip in my leather glove a little bit better. But other than that, everything was pretty good on it. I'm excited to get to longer blades because it does get a little bit arduous chopping through these big fat roots with these 7-inch knives, but we'll get there soon. Anyway, I so enjoyed that. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope that's informative and fun for you. Quick paper test because I think I slow-moed that as well. Tahoma Field Knife is really good through here, which is surprising because that's where a lot of the work got done. It does have a couple clear chips or just catches. There's one there, right there. And the tip is okay. The tip just went through the dirt a lot. It's still slice cutting. The tip won't push cut. It's not gonna wanna do that. So, Cold Steel Recon Scout. Pretty even keel, good. Does definitely have a catch as well, right about, oh, I missed it. Yeah, kind of right about there. I guess this oxidized portion is probably where it's catching, which maybe is not the most fair thing in the world. Anyway, if you enjoyed that, found it fun and informative, check out this video where I take my K-Bar Becker BK7 head-to-head against a $4 Kmart cleaver. So funny, such a fun video. I hope you guys enjoyed that. For the rest of you, I'll just say peace out from the home slice. Take care, guys. Bye.